Hey guys, so we're going to be testing out my $100 budget U Tron deck again today, and we're going to see how it goes. This is pretty good. We have a repeal, a map, a mana leak. So this is our turn 2 play. This is our turn 1 play. Well, either of these could be turn 2 depending on what he's playing, but this looks pretty reasonable. It's not amazing, but it's keepable. We probably won't map immediately, because we kind of want to draw into a Tron land or two before we go for it. This allows us to guarantee Tron as opposed to, so we're playing against some sort of Zoo deck. This is where we might end up mapping so we can thirst next turn. It just depends on what he plays. We might need to mana leak whatever he does, but we'll just see. It's only a 1-1 right now, so not too threatening. He'll probably have a forest though this turn, so a 2-3, swinging for 2, 18. He doesn't have a forest, so this is pretty rough for him. Probably has a Nicadal he can't cast. Boros Charm. We'll just take that. Because we don't want to be countering his early spells. I went for the tower because it does produce the most mana in the end. Now here we have the ability to either counter something he does or thirst, so we're in a pretty good place. So if he does have a green or something and tries to play Wild Nicadal, we can basically say no, or we can get what we need in order to succeed here. So, in a Wooded Foothills. So he is going to get all 3 lands out, which makes him more powerful right now. Let's see if he goes for the Nicadal. Lightning Bolt and probably Helix, yeah. think you could probably mana leak his Helix and take the bolt. I think that's the best course of action here. Because that prevents him from gaining life. I'm already at 10 though, which I don't like, but not too much you can do, I guess, except for try to stay alive. Good. Another Tron land, so that's good. I could hope for a land next turn and try to Perilous Vault, but I mean, I'm only taking care of Curd Ape, which is meh. I think I pass and see what he's got. I mean, I could Thirst feasibly. But Repeal also prevents some damage here, so that could be pretty good. He seems to be heavy on land right now. I think I just take the 2. That's fine. At the end of his turn, we'll Thirst. I'm not worried about some sort of spell end of turn, to be honest. At best, he's got like a Bolt or something. I apologize, my voice is kind of meh right now. Kind of getting over a cold, so if you can't understand me, I apologize. I think we can discard Scuttling Doom Engine here, because I'd rather have the Wormcoil, to be honest. So he might be holding Path in hand or something, but I need the life gain more than I need the damage, I guess. Here we're definitely going to play Island into Signet, which is pretty awesome, actually, because that means the next turn we can Wormcoil. So, and I think I'm going to repeal this turn to prevent damage, and then go for the Wormcoil, yeah. Depending on what I draw, too. I mean, if I draw into some other stuff, it could change, but I think my main course of action is Wormcoil right now. Gaining 6 life pretty much puts him out of the game. Surprised he didn't fetch at the end of the turn. And here's to hoping that Wormcoil is enough here. Oops, not what I meant to do. Just praying for no path, but I guess I could have waited a few turns, but being at 8 life is pretty rough. That stinks. He could be fetching some of these lands out with the Windswept Heath. I don't know why he hasn't done that yet. In other news, I'm thinking about getting an MTGO account, hoping to increase the level of play. I don't really know how much I really want to invest in online cards, though. So we'll see. But if that does happen, then you'll see a new interface and probably increased play ability from my opponents. But right now, this seems like a pretty average Zoo deck. I mean, he hit me hard really early, but I was able to stabilize so far, unless he gets Path. Path is about the only thing that hurts me right now, but I do have Condescend and a lot of mana, so hopefully we can stop that. I mean, he does have 5 mana out, though, which is enough to pay for Condescend, but not with Path, so... Yay, Tron! So now we're in a good place. We have loads of mana and a bomb on the field, so we're going to start swinging. And I guess I can play another Signet here. I'm not really concerned with vaulting at any point, so this just gives me a little bit more mana for the next turn. Not that it's necessary at this point, but if I were to have Mindslaver next turn, the extra mana would be nice. He's just going to concede there. So yeah, we win game 1, mainly because my opponent flooded out. Where's the scoop button? They moved it. Okay, so there it is, sideboard. Okay, so I think definitely Bottle Gnomes for this one. Great chump, life gain, all that good stuff. And probably Aetherize too, I think. I'm not sure how I feel about Reality Shift right now. Sure, it exiles stuff, but it makes a 2/2 creature, which in this kind of scenario is not exactly ideal. It would be different if it were like changing a Tasigur into a 2/2, but changing, changing a Loam Lion, for instance, into a 2/2 is like, okay, well, it just doesn't have a bigger butt, so it doesn't really reduce the damage I'm taking. Hopefully the Aetherize is good. I think that adding Aetherize allows me to effectively stop what's coming at me faster. I think I definitely want to take out a Mindslaver because I think my main course of winning is going to be killing all of his creatures and not dying to burn. So I might take out one Repeal. Maybe the Signets, they're not extremely useful. I mean, they came in handy in that matchup, but I think I still would have been able to stabilize just fine. I like the Vaults because they're kind of a kill switch to whatever's going on if I don't like it. Scuttling Doom Engine is kind of meh, but dealing 6 damage is really good. Obviously, Silent Arbiter is really strong against Zoo because they tend to try to flood the field, and he makes that basically useless. Um, so, decisions, man. I think maybe a map. That seems reasonable. Um, while obviously Tron is really nice to have, it's much nicer to be able to live, you know? So I think that's my goal is to just survive until I can get a big bomb like Worm Coil Engine. Pretty much Worm Coil Engine is my savior in this matchup. That's why I kept all the treasure mages in too. Is because finding Worm Coil is pretty much going to win me the game. This hand looks really good for me. I have a Tron piece, an island, so I have a turn 1 play with Expedition Map, and Bottle Gnomes, which is going to stabilize me on turn 3. So, being on the draw against Zoo is pretty rough, though, I will admit that. Because this is probably Wild Nicadal or Kurt Ape, already at a 2-3. Guaranteeing me to go down to 18 next turn. Oh, yeah, Wild Nicadal. So, a 2-2 next turn will be a 3-3. Bottle Gnomes doesn't do too much against that, so... And there's the Worm Coil Engine, though. This is looking really stellar if I can resolve that Worm Coil and not have it get pathed. The tricky part is going to be not having it get pathed. I might, depending on how quickly I can assemble Tron, I might Mindslaver first and see if he has path in hand. And if he does, then that can determine my course of action. I can path one of his own creatures and save my Worm Coil. So here it looks like maybe Wild Nicadal and a Boros Charm dealing 7 damage. That'd be my guess. Although I would save my best burn spells for last, so... Oh no, he's making it come into play tapped. He's at 16. Maybe a Kurt Ape or a Lightning Bolt. mm. No bolt yet, so that's pretty okay, I guess. Still not my favorite predicament to be in. Hopefully, Bottle Gnomes will give me a turn. But, yeah, I mean, right now he's dealing 5 damage next turn plus burn. So, although he didn't bolt me there, which I would either say is a misplay or a signal that he doesn't have bolt in hand. He doesn't seem like a terrible player. I mean, he forgot the windswept heath in the first game, but I'm not sure that he would misplay that way. Obviously, end of turn bolt is almost like I can't even think of the words. Instinctual. Going to 12, I mean, I guess a triple bolt here would almost solidify me losing. The likelihood of triple bolt is pretty slim, but... What is this? Don't know why he's playing forked bolt. See if he has a response to this. I just need to land so I can hopefully bottle gnomes. I do have a Parasol. That's pretty good. If it gets that far. So repeal is pretty okay here, but I'd prefer the bottle gnomes, I think. Because it's a little bit of life gain and a block, so it gives me another turn. Let's see what his end of turn is. Probably going to be Boros Charm. Yep. That pretty much is rough. I need that third Tron land. If I can get that third Tron land, I guess I could have thirsted last turn. To try to find a land. It's a thirst for knowledge. I'm not exactly pleased with the predicament because now he's within double bolt range. Because even in response to casting a bolt, you know, sacking this, gain 3 life, he still swings for 5. So, kind of hoping that he doesn't have much burn, basically. I don't know how I could have really played this better. I feel like Bottle Gnomes is my stabilization point, at least to not die. But it just wasn't fast enough. We'll block the Nicadal, then sack. Gain 3, lose 2. No bolts, so we're still good-ish. We're still alive, I guess. The only way we live here is that he has no burn, and that we repeal Loam Lion, I guess. Or I mean Nicadal, and take the damage from Loam Lion. Go to 1. That's not exactly ideal, but we'll see. It looked like a really strong hand. I guess maybe I was allured a little bit by having bombs, but I did have 2 lands and expedition map, so let's see if he has any burn. It would really be ideal to be able to get that worm coil out, but it just doesn't seem possible. Yep, that's it. So probably the better route is to have some sort of counter mana in hand, especially being on the play. Dang it, I keep forgetting this. We have Tron and Mindslaver. Uh, this looks pretty much amazing. I mean, I understand that I'm going to be facing against an aggressive deck, but I do have Repeal, I have Tron, and I can Treasure Mage into Wormcoil. So I'm thinking turn 3 Treasure Mage, turn 4 Wormcoil. That should pretty much solidify a win, I think. Apparently he's still boarding, so I'll wait for him to at least draw. But yeah, I mean, Mindslaver isn't amazing in my opening hand, but it's definitely worth keeping because it means that I can bolt his creatures, lightning helix his creatures, or I mean, which gains him life, sure, but killing his creatures with his own spells is about as efficient as you can be. Um, especially because I feel like I'm going to draw into more land or at least mana rocks. You know, I still have 2 signets in. Um, and treasure maging for Wormcoil is going to be amazing. You know, getting that Wormcoil out is going to be really, really helpful. Um, and treasure mage itself is a chump, so and I still have repeal online, so I can repeal something, you know, turn 2, prevent that early damage, and get Wormcoil and stabilization out. You know, that's really the goal right now. And we'll see. We'll see if that works. It seems like a decent strategy. But it is turn 4. You know, I mean, if he wins like he did last time, he won on like I think turn 5, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we'll see. It's taking a very long time to sideboard. It's sometimes strange when people sideboard after game 2, as though I guess I mean there's the possibility of like cards like Chalice, which is better on the play than on the draw. So you could probably side something out like that. But all right, so here we go. Start with the island because this we're gonna treasure mage turn 3 anyway. So um, it seems like the most efficient play because then you can signal counter mana too, which is nice. Yeah, without Path, he pretty much auto loses to Wormcoil, so I'm thinking that Wormcoil is really good here. This deck, we're more, or I guess less budget. Um, Sunring Titan would be amazing. So, Monastery Swiss Spear, pretty good card. Oh, look, more land. Alright, so we're doing really well here now. Yeah, we can now repeal next turn to probably Swiss Spear or something. I mean, it'll just depend. But I can see repealing Swiss Spear is a good play here, especially if he tries to pump it with prowess stuff like Lightning Bolt, Fork Bolt, whatever. Then he loses the value of those spells essentially in conjunction with Swiss Spear. And next turn, Treasure Mage, which can chump Swiss Spear without a prowess trigger, of course, but it at least provides a block or a forced, like, forked bolt to it, you know. So yeah, I think that right now we look like we're in a pretty good place. I can, the turn after I Wormcoil too, I think I'd have 1, 2, 3 between this. 1 second. No response to attack. We'll see what he plays. I'm thinking that at the turn after Wormcoil, I can Mindslaver. Repealing isn't amazing here, but at least it keeps forgetting that repeals to hand. But wow, just a lot of mana right here. Um, I would think he would just go for Swift Spear again, unless he has like Curd Ape, you know, um, or Lone Lion, one of those two. But anyway, I think that I have enough mana, yeah, especially with that tower to that turn after I Worm Coil. It's a Mindslaver, I think. I'd rather not take the damage from that. And I have a chump for the next turn, and then, or at least hopefully, and then Worm Coil. So a leak is pretty nice here, but we will probably use that next turn because we can Worm Coil with our Tron lands. Oh no, we won't be able to do that. So it'll be more like the turn after that. I mean, he can easily burn away Treasure Mage, but I don't really care. That's one burn spell that's not hitting me in the face. I mean, obviously Vexing Devil does hit me, but Worm Coil is kind of it's basically all my hopes right now. We'll see if that plan works out. Vexing Devil is pretty brutal. One drop, 4/3 that can act as a burn spell. It's basically a char without any real issue to you. Um, it doesn't hit you for 2, and it can be a body if your opponent allows it, like I did. But I just didn't want to take 4 to the face. I guess I could have. It's almost always better to just take the 4, but in this particular scenario, I can block it with Worm Coil next turn, which is what I'm hoping to do. And just try to avoid a path, I guess. Don't know exactly what he's doing here, but I guess Worm Coil does die to Vexing Devil on the block if he has Boros Charm. Pretty much stinks. But we'll jump the Vexing Devil. Hopefully that's enough to get me through here. So it does a total of 8 damage that turn. That's pretty impressive. Just really, really, really hoping against a path. A path would, I think, cause me to lose here. Nope. Yep. Path would definitely cause me to lose here. 4, 5, 6. Well, I guess I could still live. But doesn't seem likely. And this is definitely not an ideal situation. I'd love to be able to back up Worm Coil with counter magic, but I don't have it. So here's to hoping. I guess if he does, no, it comes in tapped from path, so never mind. I was thinking about Ghost Quarter. I think we're obliged to block. Because if he's got 3 bolts in the graveyard, right? Yeah, so it's not very likely he has a bolt, but a lightning helix with that guy getting through, maybe a forked bolt, that would be what, 5, 9 damage. I'm only getting 6. I'd still live, but but a Boros Charm, for instance, 8 damage. I'm only getting 6. Again, I guess I still live, but I think I'll block the Swift Spear. Alright, so now we know he has nothing in hand. We can pretty much win this one, I think. We'll attack his Vexing Devil into Worm Coil, gain 6 life. And pretty much win. And now I think we have a pretty firm grasp on this game. We only have a mana leak in hand. It's pretty amazing. The reason I cracked and didn't do a shock was for the sake of if he paths, I can mana leak it and he can't pay for it. So which is exactly what happened, and I'm glad I made the decision. So thanks for watching. Again, I hope that this was informative. We beat Zoo 2-1.